Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've got some breaking news tonight, once again out of our favorite place, Sandusky, Ohio, where we've just learned of a brand new trademark filed for Cedar Fair called Railblazer. Now, Danny, you found this afternoon. Explain to us what's going on here.
Yeah, so the trademark Railblazer, actually a friend of mine sent this to a group of ours, one of my several group chats, sent a screenshot of this trademark, and I went in and did some digging, and it was filed for on July 5th, which, was just a few days ago. So it's very odd that a trademark like this is popping up this early. As you said, the trademark is for the term Railblazer, and it is in the same style of previous Cedar Fair trademarks, such as Fury 325, Centurion, even The Ledge, which we've talked about earlier on this year. It talks about metal keychains, non-leather keychains, souvenir magnets, sunglasses, cameras, cell phone accessories, T-shirts, clothing, sweatshirts, sweatshorts, headwear, hats and caps, amusement park services, candy, amusement parks, rides.
Yeah.
All those sorts of things, scale model vehicles, toy models, all that type of stuff that we've seen. That is the same stuff that is put on almost all of these trademarks. It's used for any type of ride. And it is, the attorney of record is Susan Neuberger Weller, who is the same attorney of record on many of the other Cedar Fair trademarks. And it is of the same filing basis, 1B originally. Some Fury 325 I know is now a 1A basis, but most of them typically start out as a 1B. So that leads us into the big question of, is this a actual name of one of the rides or one of the coasters that we're going to be getting? Or is this maybe a Centurion type thing or a red herring? And you and I kind of came to the immediate conclusion that this could very possibly be the name for RMC Mean Streak.
Yeah, for sure. That, to throw one more layer on top of this, our good friend Robert Dole found a new picture inside the park right by Maverick. It's a wanted poster of what it seems to be a blacked out figure from the Battle for Cedar Point game. The problem is we can't figure out what character this is in the game.
Seems to be a new character.
It could be a brand new character we just learned, or he said that he was just there last week. This poster was not up on the Maverick fence, and all of a sudden, up on the Maverick fence across from the antique cars, there's this new poster that kind of looks kind of frontierish, looks kind of cowboyish, but with some of these, he's got like this thing on his arm that looks almost like a flamethrower. Coincidentally, maybe it's Railblazer is this new character. So the question mark is this something that was already in the game? Am I just missing it somewhere in the game? Because I played a lot last year and I can't find anything. Like the figure looks familiar, but I can't find anything to tie it back to any concrete evidence. So I don't know if it's something that's just a coincidence that this shows up and Railblazer goes into the record, or if these two things are linked. But Danny, I'm going to tell you something. I actually really like the name Railblazer. I think
that's exactly what I said to you earlier today. I said, when I first saw this, I texted you immediately, sent you a screenshot, and I said, this is the best name I've heard of all the different ones we've heard. The Ledge, Steel Streak, Iron Streak, all these other ones that people have been throwing. We haven't had any concrete evidence of anything being possible except for The Ledge. Stampede, Steel Streak, Iron. Those were all kind of conjecture. Everything else was kind of conjecture. This one, I've heard some mixed reviews, but I actually really like this one, and I'll tell you why. And it's the same reason I told you. When I think of Railblazer, the first thing that I think of is, immediately I think of what they called the stand-up corkscrew at like Six Flags St. Louis for like a year or something. Or they called when they had stand-up trains on the River King Mine Train for like 1 year, they called it Railblazer. And that's what I'm thinking back to. But when I think of something called Railblazer, I immediately think of something on rails and something that's going very, very fast. Now, if you backwards there, I think of maybe like a speeding train. because down in Scranton, PA, about an hour away, the minor league baseball team is called the Rail Riders, and Scranton is known as Steamtown, USA, where all the old steam trains run out of. So I think of a Railblazer being a very fast steam train, and the steam trains were often called iron horses back in the old days and were referred to as iron horses. So, and when you think about an old steam train, that would fit very well into the frontier town theme, sort of the Western style that's going on there. And Stampede and names of that sort that seems to be too similar to what Maverick is already. So I felt like we would need something that's a bit of a bigger departure from what Maverick is, because Stampede almost seems to take away from what Maverick already is. Railblazer is a complete departure from what Maverick is and what that name means and what the connotation that goes along with that is, yet it still fits into the Frontier Town theme. And go ahead.
And to be honest with you, from a historical standpoint, the thing that brought all the frontier people, all the pioneers out there was the steam train. You know, when they talk about their coming, and you talk about what you go back to the initial Mean Streak tease with the guy with the axe. You know, he was kind of like a 49er, kind of like a gold digger. You know what brought those guys out there? The steam train brought them out there. So if this is a locomotive.
You know, I've been working on the railroad type of guy, hitting the railroad stake into the ground. So maybe this trademark coming out is, you know, you and I have been talking, and we keep saying, once we get one more piece of information, you know, maybe it'll start to come together. They're coming, you know, maybe they're coming out on the, on the Railblazer or whatever. They're wild, unruly. Railblazer sounds like something that would be wild and unruly. I mean,
well, if you've studied any history of the old pioneers, of the 49ers, wild and unruly would be a compliment to most of those guys going out there.
And I mean, if you think about a big old iron horse, heavy steam train coming down the rails, those often sound like rolling thunder coming down the rails, right? I mean, and you know, the chugging of the train, those are references that a lot of people who are train fanatics make those references all the time, that, you know, a train rumbling down the track sounds like rolling thunder. So all of a sudden, this seems to make a lot of sense. So I would be surprised if this maybe isn't the name for RMC Mean Streak, and I would almost be disappointed if it's not, because I actually really like this name. We talk about how a mediocre to bad name can work if you make a good logo. I actually really like this name. I think this could become somewhat of an iconic name. And we've seen it used on roller coasters before. So but there's none currently that I know of that exists with this name. So this is a good name, I think. And I think there's a lot of potential for a really good logo to tie back to this. So I actually really like it. Now, if this is a trick, it's a damn good one, because there's a here, and they've really put some thought into this for a fake name, if this is indeed a fake name. So that's why I tend to think that this one might be the name that we're going to see come 2018.
And to throw one more thing on the fire here, we talked about that poster earlier on today, and at the bottom of that poster there's a reward given for capture of this darkened out individual, and that reward was $875, Danny Miller. Also, if you add up those three numbers, it comes out to the number 20, a number that we've talked a lot about in the last few episodes. So the conspiracy deepens, Danny Miller.
There we go. Well, you know what? That's very odd. Now, 875, and that adds up to 20. You know, that's not a whole lot to go on, but you know, you and I thinking about this one too, because the 875 has to have some sort of significance. And
I would think so.
There has to be some sort of significance to that number. So, you know, we're just going to have to try and think about this one for a little bit. And if we come up with anything, you bet your ass that we're going to be letting you know what we come up with here. So I think this could be what we're going to see next spring, come time to unveil a new ride sign there. I I would put my bets on this one right now for RMC Mean Streak. This is the first one that I have some confidence in.
Yeah. Well, as always, we'll keep you updated with the ever-developing story of the former Mean Streak coaster. And as always, ride on, Ride Warriors.
See you next time, guys.